So we are back in clay season. Last year we made a lot of videos about tennis, which to my surprise worked a lot. Thanks to Harish and Miraj, who's actually taught me a lot about tennis. Harish, I keep on meeting on a lot of events here and there, but Miraj I haven't met yet. But we're still like tennis friends, which is so cool. So thank you, Harish and Miraj, for doing it again.
Yeah, it's always awesome to be back and talk tennis. Thank you for having us. And yeah, looking forward to the next 2 weeks in Paris and then Wimbledon.
Likewise, always a pleasure to be here. And it's weird how we catch up only when there's tennis around, and that too in this setup. But it's always great to speak to you guys.
So Roland Garros has just started. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch a lot. I've watched like here and there, but a lot of people on my Instagram have actually told me that we want to get into tennis. Why is Roland Garros so entitled, and why are people so excited about it? If y'all want to like say something about the tournament before we get into what has happened in the last 2 days.
Sure. I think just in terms of the historic legacy of the event, it's one of the oldest tournaments in the world, considered one of the four Grand Slams. The only one on clay, which is again a very difficult surface for a lot of players, very physical. You tend to need to play really long points, you need to be really physically fit to play, and it's just a lot of fun to watch because really long rallies, exciting stuff. Obviously, in the last few years, Nadal has taken, I think, Roland Garros to a different stature, not just in tennis, but outside tennis as well. So I think that's what kind of adds to the entire legacy of the tournament and why it's so attractive.
Agreed entirely. Clay as a surface is sort of more challenging than the others. Of course, each surface has its own challenges, but clay being one of the most demanding surfaces, the points never seem to end there. Right? And particularly in the Grand Slam, in this French Open, we actually have linesmen, right? So we're not relying so much on the technology. So we've sort of gone back in time. And have linesmen. We have the chair umpire coming down and giving the call. So it's interesting to see. I really hope this does not end up being a case wherein a crucial point is decided this way. But speaking of the Roland Garros at large, it is one of the, as Harish rightly mentioned, one of the four Grand Slams, and that being on clay is a fun watch.
I think last year Roland Garros gave us one of the most iconic matches between Alcaraz and Sinner, the 5.5 hour match, where people who don't even watch tennis have loved those 5.5 hours. This year we have Carlos Alcaraz out of Roland Garros and Wimbledon. I know it's his injury and it's good that he's resting, and obviously he needs it as an athlete. But how do you think is it going to impact tennis and Roland Garros in general?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, it's lost a lot of the excitement. I think for a lot of fans because over the last now 2.5 years, it's just been all about Alcaraz and Sinner trying to reach the finals and watching them and waiting for their matches. So I think that has kind of punctured some of the excitement. But I think true tennis fans always find something to look forward to. It'll be interesting to see how Sinner kind of manages in this scenario where he's the undoubted favorite now. There are going to be a few new players coming up. A few youngsters have already started making some noise. A few of the older guys, Wawrinka and Morpheus, played their last matches. So I think for true tennis fans, there's always something exciting to watch and look forward to.
No, nothing
I'm
to
going to
add.
come to Raj with the younger generation that Harish just spoke about. Who are you excited to see? And for people who probably are new to tennis, also me, who are the players that we should actually look out for apart from the top 10?
Apart from the top 10, we should very much, and I'm sure we'll get to Nishesh Basavarete in a while, but like he's one player that we should look out for. Sure, he's sort of not going to have that dream run to the semis or to the quarters or perhaps the finals, but like what he's done in the first round itself is commendable. Then we have Flavio Cobolli, we have although he's not so young, we have Lorenzo Musetti. All of these players, the Italian players, it is such a great crop, but all of them have been under the shadow of Yannick Sinner, of course, right? If you go to Brazil, we have Fonseca. He has promised a lot over the past few seasons, but has sort of under delivered as compared to what he's capable of. So he's also one of the players that we should be looking out for.
Harish, what do
Yeah,
you
I think
think
those
about the match with Taylor Fritz?
it was a good match. I didn't see the entire one. I did see the highlights. I think he played really well. Three tie breaks, and then he ran away with the fourth set. I think, like Fritz said, I was reading Fritz's comments post match. He said he thought he played a pretty decent match. It's not that he played bad. It's just that Nishesh played a really terrific match. He had a lot of drop shot winners against Fritz, which caught him by surprise. And yeah, I think overall a great win. Nishesh has been kind of knocking on the doorsteps of the big time for a while now, for maybe over a year, ever since he played Djokovic in one of the slams a couple of years back. So I think great win for him, and yeah, great win for him overall. I'll just want to add a couple of names to what Miraj said to look out for. I think two more names that you should definitely look out for are Rafael Jodar of Spain. He's the new Rafa on the block. He's already top 30 in the world. I think last year, this time, he was ranked outside the top 500. So he's had a crazy rise up the rankings. And there's another French teenager who's, I think, 16 or 17. He just beat Marin Cilic in the first round in straight sets. His name is Moise Kwame, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So he's had a couple of good wins before this tournament. He's another exciting talent to watch. So watch out for those two names.
So that game, right? The one between Nishesh Basavaredi and Taylor Fritz. So few fun facts about Nishesh Basavaredi. He has won the Orange Bowl. Orange Bowl is the under 14, under 12 level. But like if you do well there, you are almost guaranteed that you are going to do really well in the pro circuit. To name a few players, Roger Federer, Francis Tiafoe, all of these have come from Orange Bowl. Nishesh Basavaredi is in Stanford University. He's representing Stanford University for US college tennis. For context, Dakshineshwar Suresh was representing Wake Forest when he won the NCAA with Wake Forest, right? So I personally hope that we actually see Dakshin Suresh at this level under an Indian flag playing one of the Grand Slams. Back to Nishesh Basavaredi, that game actually was tactically amazing because it was known that Taylor Fritz was battling knee inflammation. That was an injury that he was nursing. Fritz played only one game in Geneva on the clay, where even there he bowed out in the first round, lost to Alexei Popyrin there, and there was no coming back because there was no practice on clay for him. So very intelligently, as Harish rightly mentioned, there were a lot of drop shot winners, right? Interestingly, Taylor Fritz had more winners, around 70 winners as compared to Basavaredi's 50 odd winners. But when it came to managing the tight moments, tie breaks could go either way, right? And Basavaredi was brave enough to hit a huge second serve, was brave enough to attack Fritz's serve. It was a clinical performance overall by Nishesh Basavaredi.
Another upset that we actually had right after Taylor Fritz was Medvedev, which I think Miraj was the one who told me about it, and I was like, "What is happening? Why do we have so many upsets in the first round itself?"
Medvedev is an interesting character. I don't know what's wrong with him. Benjamin Bonzi French Open last year, Benjamin Bonzi Wimbledon last year. Today, he has lost to a wild card, Adam Walton, if I'm not wrong. So that was a chaotic match. That was a very chaotic match. Everything was out of the window. No tactics, no basics of tennis, nothing doing. It was just pure hitting, and the better player won, I believe.
Yeah, I think Medvedev has certainly lost some of his mojo since, I think, splitting up with his coach. There was a point when he was competing right at the top with Djokovic, with Sinner Alcaraz for the latter rounds at the big tournaments and the slams. But I think in the last year, he's had a few good runs here and there, but otherwise he's had a lot of losses that he wouldn't have had like 4 or 5 years ago when he was winning those Grand Slams and Master Series. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see whether he can bounce back and kind of really challenge for the titles again.
Who do y'all think is the next big upset that we're gonna have?
I'm gonna go and upset a lot of people and say Djokovic losing to Fonseca in the third
I
round.
was thinking of Djokovic as well, and I'm not joking.
I think Casper Ruud, which won't be an upset.
Coming to the finals.
Casper Ruud in his first round went to 5 sets, right? He was it. I'm not getting his name right now, but he basically went to 5 sets in the first round. He's got no business going to 5 sets. That if he is to go deep, because you would try to reduce as much court time as possible in the initial rounds if you are to go deep into the tournament. Same with Davidovich Fokina, right? He played the first game, the first game he played against damage removed, if I'm not wrong. And again, that one went to 5 sets. Agreed, there was a lot of heat. It is sweltering hot in France, but given all of that, again, that game went to 5 sets. So if you are to sustain, if you are going to have your body sustain the climate of France over the span of 2 weeks, then you need to put these games to bed quite easily if you are to go deep.
Yeah, I think in Drew's match specifically, I did see some of that match, and I think the thing was that I think he felt sick in the fourth set, closer to the end of the third set and fourth set. He was quite sick. I think he was cramping. He got the doctor out, and he was also like they were checking his temperature and his pulse and stuff like that. So I think the 5 sets was somewhere related to that. Yeah, I mean it's not ideal to go 5 sets in the first round, but he still bounced back really well and won the fifth set. I think he'll still go deep in the second week. I wouldn't think that he'd be upset, but and he's personally one of my favorites. So I'm hoping he goes deep this fortnight.
I think because like Roland Garros has just started, I'm very much interested also in what is happening with women's tennis because this time I think people are making really bold predictions about the women's tennis. Do you all think it's going to be Sabalenka?
So I've been watching some of the matches. I think it's pretty much an interesting field, open field. I think the favorites are Sabalenka and Rybakina. They're the ones who played the most consistently this year in the big events. Iga Swiatek has kind of been struggling, although she's a four-time champion. I think she's been struggling a lot this year, and she has a new coach. She doesn't have the same level of confidence that she herself has admitted. There's Coco Gauff. There are a lot of other players: Mira Andreeva, Jessica Pegula, Amanda Anisimova. I think it's a pretty open field this year, and that's what's making it exciting for me to watch how those guys kind of go on and perform over the next 2 weeks.
I've also been seeing a lot of your stories on Instagram where you're talking about like Indians, also like doubles, what's happening around Roland Garros that people are not really talking about in the open. So if you can highlight those points as well.
Sure. So I think we have two Indians playing in the doubles this time. There's Sriram Balaji and Yuki Bamri. Good for us. Both of them won their doubles match first round today, so that's good. They're both in the second round. On the women's side, we don't have anybody playing in the main draw. We had Karman Thandi playing in the qualifying. She used a protected ranking coming back from injury to play qualifying, and she lost first round. That was kind of expected because this was just a third tournament back after like a couple of years out due to injuries. But it's good to see her come back and play at this level. And in the juniors, we have a couple of good players who are right now ranked in the top 30 in the world in juniors. There's Anna Paparkar on the men's side, on the boys' side rather, and Maya Rajeshwan Revati on the girls' side. They both have won some big ITF titles over the past couple of months. So it'll be interesting to follow them over the next week when the juniors start.
I think apart from Roland Garros, there's one thing that I really want to discuss with both of you because I know that you all are deep into tennis and you all play tennis as well. Um, we will be talking about RG a lot through the season. I mean, we'll be calling guests here and there so that there is like a lot of discussion that we have. But what I want to understand, because I've been talking to Harish a lot about Tennis Premier League, and you all have been internally talking about it as well. Why do you think are Indians struggling abroad when we are trying to push tennis in India right now?
I think it's again a combination of things. I think we're not going to expect overnight miracles. I think every time I there's a good run by one particular player, one they expect them to perform at that level week in week out, which doesn't happen in tennis. There are very few players who have a kind of a straight through meteoric rise and then kind of sustain that level. I was just reading something on the Italian player Jasmine Paolini, how she reached two Grand Slam finals and she struggled. Now she's out of the top 10. She's been struggling. There are a lot of kind of comments about her, and the person who wrote that article said we keep comparing the athletes to their peak, and her peak was so high, and now that she's losing early, that people are disappointed. But I think that's just how it is with Indian fans as well. We get really excited when we have somebody like a Manas Dhamne or a Krish Tyagi do well in 1 week. We expect that week in week out, but it's not going to happen overnight for one player or for Indian tennis overall. Yeah, I think we've got definitely much better facilities now. We've got good coaching. We're getting some of them. Some of them are getting sponsors. We have a good pipeline of juniors. I think it's just uh, it's going to be sustained over a period of time, small improvements, and hopefully over a 4 5 year period we'll see some improvement. And obviously, having representation at the top like Sumit Nagal, when he was there, there was a lot of buzz around the Grand Slams. He's kind of dropped off a bit. Once we see a couple of guys and a couple of women compete at the Grand Slam level again, it's just going to have a ripple effect. So I'm overall very positive on Indian tennis, and I think it'll take some time, but we will definitely be on the rise again.
Well, realistically, I believe singles not going to happen for Indian tennis because like it is super tough. I was speaking to someone at my academy, and he was of the opinion that there are a lot of players, lot of crazy good players in the circuit, but one probably they always choose the route of college tennis to the road to the pro, right? So either I don't know if Indian bodies are not built for singles tennis, if it is that the mindset is such that we start pushing towards the doubles, because we have brilliant doubles players um, in India, but we there's a question if the singles players are just as good in their own respect, definitely, but are they good enough to compete at the highest possible level? I don't think so. So it's just that every few years, and specifically for the men's circuit, there's a name that comes up. Years back, it was Somdev Devaman. Very recently, as Harish mentioned, it was Sumit Nagal, and now it is DK Suresh, right? And it's like putting all our eggs into one basket, wherein we have bet all our money on Dakshin Suresh to go all in and sort of represent India onto into the Grand Slam. But it's just him. All of these other people, for example, Aryan Shah, he was a part of the Davis Cup that defeated Switzerland, the one that put Dakshineshwar Suresh at the place that he is right now. But I do not, I mean, could be a case where I haven't followed enough, but like I haven't seen him then do well after that Davis Cup. So I don't know. Maybe we need to develop more singles players.
I think the issue with DK and with Aryan is that they're both on the college tennis circuit. Probably that's why we don't see them playing as many tournaments. I know DK finishes this year in June, his 4 years of college tennis, which then he'll go on the pro tour full time. Aryan's in college as well. So a lot of college players now are kind of coming onto the Grand Slam circuit. I think I read a stat somewhere which said the number of college tennis players in the main draw of Grand Slams is increasing by a sizable percentage. So maybe that is one route to go to the pro route. And given that Indian do Indians do follow that route, maybe eventually they'll get there. But yeah, I mean, I feel if it does give them a few years to develop themselves in terms of their game, their physique, their physical kind of fitness and strength in a competitive environment, then it might be a good option for them to then take that and go to the professional circuit. And to your other point, Miraj, yeah, I know we've all heard about that. Maybe Indians don't have the physique for tennis, but I was just looking at some of the matches today, and we had Alexandra Iela play. She's from Philippines. She's not a very big girl, but she hits with a lot of power. There was again Eva Jovic, another young American. She's seeded in the top 20. Again, she's like 5'8", not very muscular built or powerfully built, but has great timing, great strokes. So I don't think we can say that these guys can make it to the top 20 with those kind of bodies. I think we can't say that we don't have the physique for tennis. I just think, yeah, we need to definitely improve, but I think we can definitely get there in time.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and hopes high, and let's hope that it actually does happen in a few years' time, and all of us are then extremely proud of what's happening. Since it's only round one in RG till now, we don't know what's going to happen in the tournament. We do have some board predictions. And the funny thing is that every time Miraj makes a board prediction, it always goes wrong. So I want to end this video with you guys making two board predictions about probably the next till round four, not beyond that. And let's see where it stands. And yeah.
Speaking of bold predictions, in that reel, I predicted Arthur Fils to go deep. Arthur Fils actually retired. He's not playing Roland Garros anymore, so that continues. Uh, but no, bold predictions. This was contrary to what is discussed earlier in the video, but I would want Novak Djokovic to go deep into the tournament. And the other one is that the name that Harish mentioned, Rafa Hodar. So he had a brilliant clay season. He did well in Rome. He did well in Madrid. So he too, I believe, is going to go deep.
And I'm going to stick with my bold prediction of Djokovic going out to Fonseca in the third round. Yeah, I'm going to stick to that one.
Pretty bold, and I'm sure that a lot of Djokovic fans are not going to be happy with that. But let's see. Maybe he proves us wrong, and again, he has some extreme matches with Sinner. Who knows? But anyway, thank you for coming. We will be discussing RG again probably the end of this week, and I'm extremely excited to explore tennis with Harish and Virat. So thank you so much for making it happen, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.